Okay, welcome to today's next level kvCORE core next level session here.
You
We've been
good?
doing these. Let me get the replay link, recording link going. Record on this computer. Annalise, can you let me know if YouTube's going live? If you're watching on YouTube, just fast forward. I
Yep.
didn't. Yeah. Yeah. So welcome to the session today. 5/20/21 now for about 6 months now. We've been doing these 3 times a week at on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 12 noon, 9 PST. And we're going to have a scheduling change. So I want to just start out by letting all you guys know that this is happening. We are going to move these sessions starting next week to 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific. We're just stuff. We're going to switch it up a little. We're hoping maybe some more people can watch, and there's some scheduling stuff on our end that we just wanted to mix things up. So if you're watching this replay or you're watching live, just keep that in mind. Add a little note. I will change the Zoom link so you'll get your notifications, for 4 o'clock. So when you see that happen, don't be confused. It's just something we're going to go ahead and do. So now that housekeeping's out of the way, Annalise, I do have a topic for today.
And we are live on YouTube and streaming into the Facebook group.
Great.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, good. It is working. Okay. So the topic for today I was hoping to dive into was the new kvCORE ponds feature. So we're going to treat this kind of like a brainstorm, but I'm going to run through the feature. But instead of just showing how the feature works, which we'll do up top, I wanted to kind of dig in and think about the different ways that this feature can be used to actually generate business for you. And if you're not, say, generating leads for more than one person currently, you don't have a team, I'm hopeful that maybe watching this will give you some inspiration to perhaps take on a partner with another agent in your lead generation and lead incubation efforts, because this suite of features, this pond stuff, actually opens the door for you to do that, to drive leads from multiple sources and work them in a really efficient way. So if you've ever thought, yeah, maybe I'll get a lead generation buddy or I'll start a team of 2 or 3 agents, the information today could be really useful. If you know that you're just going to stay a solo agent and this isn't relevant to you, feel free to leave. We'll see you next week at 4 p.m. I'm just kind of acknowledging that, yes, this is a team leader focused, a broker admin focused feature, but I do think there's some relevance here to you, even if you are a solo agent. As always, if you have any questions, Annalisa and I are moderating the comments. We will get to your questions, whether it's related to this topic or anything else. We'll get to them at the end. We got some good feedback. 9 a.m. is right in the middle of my power hour. That's cool. This must be a West Coast person. So great, Rich. Okay, so first, let's just dive in. We'll do a quick refresh of how ponds work, what they are, for context, and then we'll get to the good stuff where we riff on it a little bit. So I'm signed in here to the local brokerage account. I'm signed in as an admin. If you're a team leader and you have an admin account, you'll be able to do this as well. If you are an agent and your office has some ponds created, you will see those up top. Just keep in mind they'll show up right up top here, which you'll probably notice in a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Smart CRM. I'm going to click on Create Pond up at the top right. You see this blue button, and we'll give this pond let's call this pond investor leads. And then we have some options. Contacts will be reclaimed by the pond when one of the following occurs. This kind of highlights one of the big features, and one of the big benefits of ponds is that you can kind of make sure that your leads are going to agents who are going to actually work them. So you can set some of these things, say, hey, if the contact does not have a campaign assigned by the agent within 1 day, we're going to yoink that thing back. If the contact has not responded to outbound communication after 1 day, we're going to take it back. If there's too many calls and number of past dues and tasks since assignment, we're going to take it back. So say there's 7 tasks that the agent has ignored for leads in this pond, we're going to take the lead back. And what that means is, it's kind of going back to the appointed agent, which I'll explain in a minute, just for somebody at your office to look at it and be like, well, maybe we need to message this person because the agent who got the lead, maybe they went on vacation or he disappeared for a few days or got too busy. So kind of, make sure that these leads and these conversations don't go to waste, because they are so valuable. And I just said the word conversations. You've heard me say that a lot of times. I think what these features do is they make sure that if there is a live body going, that it doesn't go unanswered.
Right.
Yeah, I was just talking to Delia this morning, Annalisa, here. I was at the local office, and she was like, yeah, I found a lead that was like a $2 million buyer just sitting in this agent's account who's not that, and there was a conversation happening, and she wasn't replying. So these reclaiming rules are kind of really handy for that sort of thing.
It's great for accountability and making sure there's a direct line of like who's responsible for what, where does one accountability pick up where the other one leaves off and vice versa. So it helps keep things pretty clear.
Yep. And then there's some other settings down here, just requiring a first contact attempt by the agent, requiring a contact attempt every 1 day. That's a little too aggressive. So I'm going to leave that off in this case, and then ignore reclaiming rules if the contact changes the status. So if your agent is actually working a lead and they change it to active lead or contact or a client or close, then there's no risk of them losing the lead back to the pond. What the ponds are mostly focused on are those fresh bodies, that fresh blood, those fresh fish, to keep with the pond analogy, who have a chance of going to waste. So let's go here and click next. We can now add pond members. So we click the office, and then I'm just going to add myself to the pond for now, not to confuse the other people at the office here. And then you have this appointed agent. This is basically the person who's kind of the default. If the leads get taken back, or if nobody's working the leads, all the communications that are automated from the system will come from this agent. So, it can be you, or it can be somebody else you designate, and they kind of become the backup agent who's, communicating. In most cases, you're going to want this to be maybe the team leader, or somebody who was known to be, who your agents won't mind that messaging is coming from them. If you're the broker and you own the brokerage, like Delia is, well, then Delia's cool with messaging leads. What you don't want to do is make an appointed agent who messages start coming from them on a reclaimed pond lead, because the agent can be like, oh, that agent stole my lead. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it's good to have that primary contact making that decision. Because it just removes a lot of questions or possibilities.
Yep. So that's how we create the pond. You can go ahead and actually add contacts to a pond if you want retroactively. So you can say, hey, everybody in this hashtag, we're going to dump them into this pond now, and then all the agents can start working those leads. So that's something I didn't have in my notes here. I'm going to put here re-engage old leads.
Little lead CPR.
Old leads. Yeah, I love it. Leads CPR. So that highlights there that aspect of how you might use ponds. If you have this lead source that came in, say last year you generated 500 Google leads, your agents didn't work them, you didn't have the right systems in place, but a year has gone by, it's a new spring season. Well, let's dump all those leads into a pond now. We know they all have the same hashtag, and let our agents start going in there and claiming them. So I'm not
give it a little mix in the bowl and pluck one out and go for it.
Yeah, for sure. And I had one, I think it was land or vacant land. Let's just see if that works. I want to save that lead. So that's it. The pond is created successfully. You'll notice that it now says go to lead routing. So I'm going to go there and give you some context on how this looks from a lead routing perspective, because we're going to talk a lot about how this plays in with your lead sources coming in. So I'm going to click go to lead routing. And you'll see here I can create a new rule. And I now have the option to select a pond or agent. Oh, and I forget, do you remember what I called that? Investment, right?
Yes, investment.
Thank you. Yeah, so see, I can now pick the pond, investor leads. And I can say, hey, anytime a lead comes in, just like our regular hashtag rules, anytime our lead comes in with investor as the hashtag, because I'm running some investor Facebook ads, for example, I want it to go into this pond of investor leads. So that's pretty straightforward. If you're familiar with the investor pond route, you're familiar with the lead routing feature, it's pretty much the same as it is when you're kind of grouping agents together. It kind of just is a time saver, because instead of picking and choosing the agents you want in this lead routing, it's covered by the pond. And the difference here with these leads coming in via a pond or just going round robin to agents is that your hungriest agents, maybe the agents who are like sharks, right? Because they're in the pond, they're going to eat all the little fishy leads that come in. So, and there's a level of efficiency there, because the agents who aren't responsive and that aren't hungry aren't going to end up with leads that they're not going to work. So click add that rule there. And now we have the investor pond route. So that's most of it. I probably missed some of the little finer nuances, but I think you guys get the point. I'll go back to the Smart CRM now and just show you that I should now be able to see the investor leads pond. It has this nice little drop next to it here in the Smart CRM up top. And now as an agent, if you are a member of a pond, you'll be able to click this and see all the leads that are in the pond. And it'll look very, very similar to the regular Smart CRM. From an admin's perspective, what's also really cool is that you can see a kind of bird's eye view of what's going on, like how many contacts there are, how many are unassigned or assigned, right up top here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also going to, once it's populates, you can really see who's working leads and who's hungry and who isn't. Okay, so that's the 5-minute demo of kind of what ponds are. And I'm sure I missed something. It should be pretty good. You can always click the pond settings at the top right here, and we are good. Now, let's talk about how we can use this feature to actually make some money, to generate some conversations with leads that lead to closings. So the first one, Annalisa pointed out, right? Lead CPR.
Yep.
So definitely, we just mentioned that, go right now. A good exercise to do would be go back and look through your hashtags, through your old sources. What did you spend money on in the last few years? Where do you have piles of dead leads just sitting around? It could be recruiting leads. It could be seller leads, whatever it is. Create a pond for them. Let your agents know that you're going to add them to a pond. Maybe you have a hungry new agent who just came in. They're itching to go. They just got their license. They need something to do. Throw them in a pond. Tell your new agents, hey, go in there, guys. Start grabbing them. Start calling them, and you probably find some business there. This alone could yield lots of ROI, I think.
I would think so. And also, if you've got a younger agent who's being mentored or something, it really helps them get used to the methodology, I guess, and and the habit of all of these different items to check on and respond with. So,
for sure. Yeah. A good question for Rich. When the lead comes in, will it get smart campaigns? All of the rules that you would normally set up based on a hashtag or a source for automated property alerts or for smart campaigns will apply. That designated agent, was it designated or assigned agent? Designated agent is a real estate term, kind of.
Yeah.
It's assigned agent, right?
Yeah.
That assigned agent, all those communications will come from that assigned agent. And that's why that's important. So until they're claimed by another agent, the communication will come from the assigned. Not a big deal. When a lead first comes in, there's going to be that initial text, maybe if you've done it right, a conversation starting campaign. Maybe it comes from the broker, that first conversation. And then, suddenly the lead sees the property alerts start coming from the agent that claimed them. Not a big deal. Most leads aren't even going to notice the name change.
I love this. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I love this because you can really customize how whatever people are going to be assigned to what pond and provide them talking points, little scripting points to speak to the different types of leads that come into the system, which I think is a really cool element.
Yeah, and you're bridging me into one of the big uses for me. I'm going to skip here, and that is this concept.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, it's exciting because you can really speak to specific things right here with these funnels. It made me think of your growth opportunities you've been posting and everything, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So, going back to our next level growth system from the members area, we've talked a lot about waterfront, for example. So I was talking to Delia this morning. She is actually getting lots of activity off of our waterfront campaign that we talk about a lot. And, I mentioned Pondster and I said, it's really cool. You could start to recruit to these ponds or to put specific segments of your agents into these buckets that match up with the type of business they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go and build a growth system based on geographic, right? So you might say, hey, I've got agents who like working downtown St. Pete, but they're not so great out in the rest of the county. So all of my downtown St. Pete leads, I want to go into this pond. Or I have agents who work the higher end of the market. So I'm going to give them waterfront while I'm going to give another set of agents fixers and foreclosures. So it really allows you to not only give your current agents focus around a specific niche, but it gives you something to recruit to.
Right.
You can go out and say, hey, maybe you met an agent and you're interviewing them and you say, hey, what kind of business do you like to do? And they're like, well, I love first-time home buyers. And you can say, oh, great, we have a pond in our system and a pool of leads coming in every day for starter people who are looking for starter homes. And if you join up with me, I'll put you in that pond for starter homes, right? So yeah, niche funnels for pools of agents. This is, to me, the most powerful. And I think I have a theory, based on this growth systems and how well they work, that you could build your whole brokerage and build market share by systematically going through both geographic niches and these little segmented niches and building out systems for them and then recruiting agents into them. So niched funnels. That makes sense, everybody?
And another thing as I'm thinking about this is if one of these niches starts to grow and you become like an expert with geographic waterfront fixtures and everyone within your pond is becoming an expert to speak to these things, I mean, this could lead to building a team of people, like with the kvCORE team add-on. I mean, there's just a lot of possibility here and potential for really expanding a business.
Yep. Yeah. So this is definitely available with the team add-on. And that's like I said up top, like if you're sitting here thinking, well, I don't really have multiple people right now, this might inspire you to maybe, you've kind of got a business plan roadmap here if you're paying special attention to the growth system idea.
Yep.
This plus growth systems gives you a recipe for expansion. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The question here is when a lead comes into a pond, can multiple agents within a team share a pond? So I think the way that would work is that one agent claims and then you would share it through the system. I don't think two agents can claim it. So.
Yeah, and I think there has to be a primary owner and then it can be shared out.
Yeah. Now it does get interesting with lenders who I don't think go into ponds, but you could have a lender assigned to an agent who can also see the leads. So if you're going for that team working of a lead approach, maybe it's a lender deal.
And James is asking, hey, are ponds only available for team add-on accounts? No, it's across the board.
Well, the actual admin part of the feature, you need to be an admin or have the team add-on to create ponds. So you need to be in a situation in kvCORE where you are working with multiple agents in your install. The pond feature, you could be an agent on a team or at a brokerage who has created ponds, and then you'll be able to see the ponds and claim leads out of the pond. So
it gets set up from the top down.
Yeah. So the answer is yes, it's available on all accounts, but James, the admin part of it, is a little different. The team admin, there's information about the team add-on in the marketplace. It's kind of nuanced, but that really is like getting your own kind of broker level kvCORE at a really reasonable price. If you're thinking about a team, it's a really pretty good deal, because if you were going to go buy Boomtown or one of our competitors and pay the $1,500 a month or whatever they are now, it's much more affordable to just have another kvCORE install that's your own and separate from your company.
Yep.
Okay. Another scenario, let's see here. So we have our niche funnels, and then I'll just mention you can also kind of segment your ponds and your lead routing based on your more responsive agents and less responsive agents based on general lead sources. So you might say, hey, my Google leads and my Zillow leads, I'm paying way more for those. And those people tend to be hot to trot and ready to go right now. And I know that these 4 agents at my company are really good with internet leads. So I'm going to give those leads to that pond, my more responsive. But I also want to make sure that the agents who are kind of new or they're not that into it, I want to make sure they're getting some leads they can claim so they feel like I'm providing value. So maybe I'll give them my Property Boost and Facebook leads that have less intent, and I'll rely on the system to do some of the automated conversation-based autoresponders, texts, to kind of surface those leads. But I'll put those lower intent leads in a pond for my less responsive agents. I think just in what I just mentioned, guys, if you're operating at a high level with kvCORE, there's a lot of ROI in that, just the ability to separate like that. And, up till now, you've been able to do that with lead routing, but you haven't been able to do it with lead routing and leave it so that the agents have to proactively claim a lead before they can get it. And that's a really big distinction. You're setting up a situation where there's high efficiency with the money you spend on the lead and the fact and the likelihood that it'll be worked by somebody quickly, because now you've created this competitive environment where your agents are going in and trying to claim. It also encourages your team and your agents to actually be inside of kvCORE and checking the app and checking their dashboard if they want leads, instead of with regular lead routing, they might just get a message like, hey, you've got a new lead. And there's a sense of, I don't know if it's the right word, Annalisa, but there's a little bit of a sense of entitlement, like, oh, I'm just getting these leads. Haha. They don't have to work for it.
Right. Yeah. And I know some brokerages, make it an incentive to where if you do meet these requirements and this accountability, then we do give you leads. And if not, you need to up your game or do your own lead gen. So, it can be challenging sometimes to get those leads in.
Yeah, so I'm going to put here, and I love that idea, encourage participation and compliance with brokerage/team policies.
Yep.
So here's a big one. that I was always really bad at. You know, the broker office meeting, you know, that was like Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I ain't showing up for that. Right. And you have a lot of agents who think that way, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to skip that. I got better things to be doing. Well, if it suddenly becomes a situation where, well, you're not showing for the office meeting and you're not participating and you're not stapling your TPS reports to, you know,
right.
You know, your files as they come in on pending deals are just a mess and you're not doing the specific thing that I want you to do. Well, I'm going to yank you out of the pond. So
they're going to hook you up and reel you out.
Yep. There's your punishment, bro. Stop parking in my parking space. You know, stuff like that. so yeah, I really like that. So ponds is a reward or a punishment for compliance. And then, yeah, I did have here incentivize agents by giving or removing access to ponds. So that could be a reward. It could be, hey, whoever, you know, you could set up a separate pond that is only for your agent of the month or your last 2 top producing agents. And if they, you know, create a spirit of competition, like, hey, you have worked the most leads, or hey, you have closed the most deals in the last month, so I'm going to give you a special pool of leads to reward you. Or if you've agreed to be a mentor to our newer agents, you know, we have a special pond for mentors, so you get a little extra pool of leads. So something like that. Last thing I'll mention here, I had here establish 24/7 floor time. So essentially what bonds do, you know, you don't have to go through this whole rigmarole of figuring out who's going to work floor from 9 to 12, right, on Tuesday, and then have this whole problem of somebody doesn't show up or somebody needs to change time, and there's all this confusion and, you know, stuff gets lost in the wayside. But essentially ponds just give you floor time is just 24/7. Whoever wants to be on floor and grab the latest lead, there it is.
Yep, it's right there ready for you.
And you know it was also cool here, I'm getting more ideas anyway. So sorry, I'm talking a lot today.
You should be. I mean, but that's what you do. We riff, we talk, we discuss. It's a conversation.
Yeah. So the other thing you could do with this is you could now, instead of having your agents work floor time, you can have your receptionist dumps leads into a pond. So Forever Florida has this awesome office downtown Gulfport here that has a lot of foot traffic. People walk by, and I'm sure people walk in there, and you know there's no agent around, but the person at the desk could say, "Hey, here's what I'm going to do for you. We don't have any agents in the office right now, but we have this." They can call whatever you want, but we have a system where I'm just going to put your name in there, and somebody will call you very quickly. Right. And you're with high confidence, the receptionist knows that if they enter the lead in the kvCORE and put it into that pond, then somebody's probably going to reply pretty quick. Yeah. And your agents may actually know if you have a dedicated pond for walk-ins, so to speak, or for call-ins and walk-ins. Your agents will know that that's probably a juicier pond. Right,
because there's more intent, more interest.
Yeah. So definitely one that I haven't seen anybody here internally talk about, but definitely ponds give you a way to execute floor time much more efficiently.
Yep.
Okay, I'm tapped out. I'm sure there's more ideas. Does anybody listening have any thoughts or ideas, any feedback on this? I think we touched upon probably enough here just to get your juices flowing and your mind, wrapped around what you can do with this feature. If you have, go ahead.
I think what comes to mind for me is when I was doing the training in the training department last year, I remember speaking with a lot of brokerages who were like, okay, I want these specific Zillow, like this Zillow chunk to go to these particular agents, and I want these from this other source to go to these particular folks. And I think this is where we have to get into thinking about the niche and the definition of areas, and this is also where you can talk with your agents about where they want to be and how they can grow the business with you, and maybe just become a part of your empire.
Yeah, it's a good example of where the technology can inform the way you structure and grow your business.
It's just like having all these little spokes off a wagon wheel.
Yep. So if you are watching on YouTube later, if you're watching a replay, if you're a Next Level member and something else comes to mind, or you have an interesting way that you're using ponds, we definitely want to hear about it, and we'll appreciate your feedback. If you have any ideas for how this could be improved, or maybe something you see that could be added, also let us know about that, and we'll do our best to get that incorporated into the system.
And I was thinking about like consistency of communication and messaging. You could also build a core voicemail drop or a core powered by BombBomb, video into your smart campaigns. So you have that initial messaging be blanketed in the smart campaigns. And then you have your assigned person who's matching the same type of messaging and outreach within the ponds. So I think there's a lot of things you can marry up here.
Yeah, that's a good point. All the leads coming into the ponds, they're going to follow any follow-up rules that you assign. So definitely you can niche the follow-up, and you can niche out the agents who are responding to the niche campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Rich is asking, can the leads automatically go into the pond, such as property boost, without having to be assigned? So yeah, the assignment doesn't need to be manual. Basically, you can route them in using the lead routing feature, and then it lands in the pond, and then your agents are proactively grabbing the leads out of the pond. If nobody grabs the lead, there's at least that assigned agent, that designated assigned agent, who has a top-down view and who the communications are coming from. So
yeah, there's always someone there to actually review if it's not being touched and then reassign it or take care of it.
Yeah, but for my money, if you do have a bigger team and you're thinking about ways to expand, I think there's a lot of starting with the niche, with the growth system funnel that we have in the next level mastermind, that whole training. Think about the type of lead first, then think about which agents are going to serve that lead, build out your whole system there, and put those agents into that pond, and you've got a nice recipe for success, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a long-term one. It can keep chugging away, and you can keep adding on other ponds and go on your merry way.
Yeah. And then going even further with this, let's go into the recruiting a little bit. So let's just say I created my demo investor pond. Let's just say we create a landing page like this. Investor focused agents needed or wanted.
Yep.
To help us work our growing surplus of leads looking for fixer uppers, income properties, and other investment opportunities, something like that. So you're basically you'll recruit to the fact that you have this pool of leads. So,
and that would be something I think you can add that information to your We're Hiring page on kvCORE. You could use ideal estate agent recruiting and then route people into specific ponds for investor focused. I mean, there's all sorts of opportunities here.
Definitely. So that's our content for today, I think. I hope that you guys found this useful. Again, if you're a solo agent, just be aware that if you're not going to set up your own ponds and route leads into them, be sure to let your team leader or your broker owner know about this recording and this content so that they can be incentivized to use the ponds feature and to put you into a pond. But definitely this is really going to be big, I think, for a lot of people using kvCORE, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Me too. I've been waiting and waiting for this to appear, and it's so exciting to see it here finally.
Yeah. So anything else today? I saw a question about transactions. We'll switch gears a little bit here. We usually use the first part of these sessions for some fresh content. Now we're going to switch gears into Q&A.
Right.
So there's a question about transactions. I don't know what this is about. Do you, Annalisa?
So the question is, if time allows, could you talk about the new transactions feature in kvCORE, the new style, so the new UI? The left bar is a transactions button, but I cannot figure out how to make it work. I find nothing on YouTube. So my first question would be, when you're looking at transactions, have you gone into the support articles and looked for .loop, sky slope, what have you, and connected those? Because if you don't see anything here, there's no connection.
Gotcha. So yeah, I didn't even know, like, I'm able to connect a .loop account?
Yeah. If you go either into chat,
okay,
you'll see like a find your answer now field.
Okay, let's do it.
So like that's going to load up, and then just right below where you choose, there you go. So this is where you could type in transactions, or you could type in sky slope or .loop and find like information. This is like the shortcut to kvCORE's article wiki.
See, I didn't realize that we that everybody had access to add their own transaction system.
Well, it's dependent on the brokerage, of course. So there
Okay.
are some things that may work from some things or may not others, just due to how things are set up. However, we do have the capability to connect specific transactions based on how that brokerage is set up.
Okay. Well, here's what we'll do. Was that Rich?
Yeah.
Or James? So
yep, it's Rich. Yeah.
I need to get brushed up on this. So what we will do is we will create some specific content that explains this, because I think up till now you didn't see a transactions unless you had already done the link up, and now we need to document how to do the link up, and I will make sure that gets done in the next day or so.
Cool.
Get that out to everybody. Good question though. I was eventually going to click that and wonder what was up. Let's see. So yeah, I think we've got to all the questions. We can do a short one today. Annalisa, did you have anything else you want to make sure that we touch on?
I don't. I did have some fun. Actually, I did have some fun in the Facebook page. We had a lot of fun with just a really great question, and it goes to prove how an open-ended question can cause a lot of conversation, right?
Yeah.
So this really blew my mind last night. So how many answers are we at now?
406.
Oh, see, my app actually says 700 something. So I don't know which one's right. But this is like something you could take this question and ask this of your friends, of any groups, on your own Facebook timeline, on your own Facebook page, LinkedIn, what have you. And it generates a lot of interest. And you can also find out different aspects about people and what you may have in common with them, right? Or something you want to learn about. So I found this really a lot of fun last night, and I had a hard time keeping up. And then Facebook was like, no, you're commenting too much, so we're going to cut you off for a while. So I found that surprising, but it only goes to show you how much I commented last night, because I wanted to make sure and acknowledge everybody who participated.
It's a really good conversation starting post. And I like your point. You could translate this to real estate too. Just say, hey, how long have you owned your house?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's just a nice open-ended, easy question that you're not asking anybody a lot.
Yeah. So go post, along with your property search today, go post an open-ended real estate question. When did you buy your first house? How long have you owned your home? Have you ever bought an investment property? Stuff like that. If you want to make it real estate specific, but to Annalisa's point, you could just copy hers. It doesn't need to be relevant, need to be about real estate. It's just a matter of engaging people, bringing them into your fold. So.
And I found that I had a lot in common with a lot of different folks, but it was everything from science fiction to horses to dogs to house sitting to singing to, it was like all over the board. So it was really fascinating.
Very cool. Yeah, we've had some other cool stuff. There's one in here. Boy, I'm forgetting what it was. It was I like the question. Oh, I'm missing it, and I'm forgetting. Do remember to check out the Pipeline of Paycheck on the YouTube channel from yesterday.
Yeah, that was a great session.
Yeah, totally forgetting. Okay, well, that's about all we have here today. And James asked, do you need admin access or team add-on to connect SkySlope? If you're
I'd have to check the article, because there's different rules out there depending on the brokerage and the connection available and so forth. So it's kind of
I know that things. I know EXP in particular has SkySlope, right? But I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's support would be able to help you the best.
Yeah, I won't. Let's not touch it. Annalisa's right. We don't know. We don't know. So
I tend not to learn about them because they're kind of a outside connection that I don't have access to transactions myself. So I know it's there. I know we can connect them.
What I'll work to do is I want to get the documentation done around transactions, and we'll make sure that there's something showing up here, like a link that says, how does this work?
Right.
That'll bring you to the
a little tooltip would be great.
It's definitely not, it's not ideal that we just have a link there with no explanations. So we'll get that done. Yeah, so thanks, guys. Short and sweet today. Again, I'll remind you, we'll be back Tuesday at 4 p.m. I'll probably send an email out to all our next level members. Remember that we are also streaming these on YouTube, insiderealestate.com/YouTube. And if you go to that link, you can quickly subscribe to our YouTube channel. I need to show everybody insiderealestate.info/YouTube. Sorry. I need to show everybody how to build this subscribe link. You can Google it, but this has been really handy.
Yeah.
where it automatically gets you to subscribe. It'll pop up. I'm already subscribed, so it didn't pop up, but you can do this with your own YouTube channel and maybe put it in your email signature.
Can you drop that link into the chat for everybody?
Yeah, let's see. 1 minute. How to create YouTube subscribe. I remember the format. If you guys want to wait 1 second, I will get that for you. 1 second. This is real estate. Well, I'm going to go into my redirect here.
WordPress,
I had to Google it, and I couldn't remember the format, but this is a very useful thing for sure. So here is basically what it looks like. I'm going to chat it to everybody. Nice little hack. We'll make a little story about this, but you can see it says !sub_confirmation equals 1. So basically you go to your main YouTube channel right here. So you go to your channel and then you add this parameter !sub_confirmation equals 1. And the reason we're doing this is we want somebody when they first get to the channel to subscribe, knowing that the kids these days, and me included, far from being a kid anymore, like even people up in their 40s and 50s and older are starting to use YouTube as kind of a channel where they get, I spend far more time on YouTube than I do watching TV.
It's a lot more interesting media sometimes.
Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to get as many of your sphere of influence plugged into your YouTube channel. So what you could do is you could go into kvCORE, for example, head on over to your profile. So my profile, and maybe pop into your signature here. I'm not going to actually do this to Delia's, but just show you where to go. So you go to the signature, and you could go down at the bottom and say, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So all of the messaging that goes out for you that has your signature, all your smart campaigns, property alerts, everything else will now help you build a subscriber base on YouTube. And, getting more people plugged in with you on social media, I think is very valuable. It's getting harder and harder to get people to open emails these days. So the more angles you can hit them from, the better. And giving them a quick subscribe link is awesome. Here, I'll show you guys what this looks like, and then we'll get going. So if I go and I'm not subscribed, it should pop up. See, it says confirm channel subscription. And then they subscribe before they can even go anywhere else.
Just a nice little quick single sign-on, basically, almost seamless.
Yep. So great. Thanks, Annalisa. I think we're good.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. And boy, say Thursday already? Oh my gosh. So we'll see
you're
you
off
next
tomorrow
Tuesday.
too, right?
I am. Yes.
We'll enjoy. I'll be here, but it's Friday. I'll kind of be off.
Oh, I know you'll be there.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.